So sales commissions. Talk to me, Jesse, about how I can use program. Before, what I've done is I've gone in and I've created a little. I've done this for a client on my properties. I created a calculated field that said, all right, take this number, what the amount is, and multiply it by this number, and now give me the commission, and I could see the commission on the deal. What are we talking about here when we talk about sales commission and custom coding? What can we do now? And especially with custom objects too. I think that's powerful.
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I think to kind of build on what you were saying, a lot of ways that we see customers doing stuff is that they'll actually export all of their deal data and all of their other sales data into like a spreadsheet or a Google Sheet or something like that, and try to use that to run some complex complications to figure out like what their sales commission would be. Or they're doing something like you were saying and trying to hack it into like the deal and using some like kind of like basic calculation,
which I've done.
Yeah, exactly. And with the custom code action, it'll actually allow you to run more complex computation. So you can actually like pull in data from different data sources, or run a more complex, math equation to actually figure out what the sales equation should be. That's not just based on, simple multiplication. Maybe you have something that there are other factors in and things like that. So the big thing here is being able to like customize what your sales commission structure is through custom code action, because you can actually customize what that calculation would look like by pulling in, deal data and joining it with some other data as well.
Yeah. And we're actually going to have Caleb later from our team show a simplified version of this, so how we're going to pull some data to show a complex commission structure. So we're actually going to show a live demo for those of you who want to know. We're actually going to dig in and show you the code of how we created a sales commission calculator. So hold tight on your seats here. We're going to get there. But lead routing. So let's talk about this, Jesse, because HubSpot has their workflows. If something comes in and I want to send it over here, I've done lead routing. I've built these workflows before, right? And in the workflow functions. What's different now with custom code that's different? What makes this so special compared to what I've done before, where I've done a bunch of if-then statements, or I can say, if this property is equal to this, then do this. What's different here now?
Yeah, I think very similarly to the sales commission question, actually probably all these other ones that I'm going to mention as well, is that the interesting thing about this is that you'll be able to like actually customize your lead routing system based on all whatever factors you use to determine your lead rotation, so that you don't need to go through like our kind of more like rigid opinionated process that we use, where we just make you dump somebody into like a round robin or something like that. You could actually do it based on the availability of the rep, or where the reps are located, or like set up something that allows you to kind of like carve out your own territories and then map the rotation to those territories. And the way that you do that is you could do that, in a couple different ways. But today, like some of the challenges are not all that data lives within HubSpot. So actually to like make those different calculations on the if-then statements require you to either jump through a bunch of hoops or run into a bunch of roadblocks. And what this will allow you to do now is actually like join data from, maybe you have like an ERP where you're tracking, or some sort of other like project management tool where you're tracking like all of your, like the availability of your sales reps when they're on vacation and stuff like that. And you want to join that with like other data in HubSpot about like the deal or the customer and stuff like that. And this will allow you to basically like join those data points together to then route data to the right person when they're available. And then you could even mix in things like grabbing data from like some public source that is turning like or some public API, or maybe even a service that you've created that is looking at the zip code and then mapping the zip code to a particular like sales region that you've created and things like that. So really the interesting thing with the lead routing use case is it both like solves some challenges that we know that we want to probably solve directly under our platform, but also opens up the flexibility to solve those challenges that are pretty unique to customers' processes.
So and what I'm hearing too in this, Jesse, is that when you have some dynamic attributes to your lead routing, it could be based on like time period or time of day, things that maybe don't stay the same, like when somebody's available, or availability of maybe the cogs that you're selling, right, in a certain area. All that can play a part into it. I think the biggest thing is maybe schedules with reps or skill level of a rep, right? And that changes.
Exactly.
That's a very dynamic thing. And you don't have a place right now in HubSpot where you put skill level of my reps, right? But you could build a custom object just about your reps, right? About your actual users internally, and build a custom object sits alone that this can pull from to pull skill levels or availability, and people can go in and change and update their own information, which I think is phenomenal. So basically there's the limitation on lead routing with this now becomes pretty significant. It's on steroids now, which I think is cool. We're going to talk about one other aspect. I want to bring it up now. We'll bring it up with the service side that I really like. On the sales forecast, we have a tool already that helps with forecasting. When we look at this tool, from what you and I had talked about before, this is a way to look at forecasting. What my understanding, what I want to talk about with this one specifically, is about based on previous history of a rep, right? Talk to me about that, about why I would care about the previous history of a rep in sales and looking at forecasting.
Yeah, because like basically when you're trying to create your sales forecast, you're looking at all of the different factors that are going to factor into the predictability of the revenue that's going to come in, or the sales that are going to close. And by being able to like actually run some function that actually like pulls in data about a rep's past performance, you'll be able to use that to factor into influencing whatever that forecast model will look like, so that you can actually customize it and build a more predictable model into your sales forecast, rather than just kind of having to build something where it's a little bit more of guesswork and things like that.
So I could look at things like Billy on average has closed 3 deals. He's predicting, he's put it himself that he's going to close 4, but I know based on history he's going to close 3, right?
Exactly.
Like I can take that into account, and even that and kind of narrow down the aspect of that forecast, and then use that to add to the forecasting tool to update maybe the forecast status that I have, and say, okay, this is really maybe a true forecast status of this deal based on past history, right?
Yeah. And you could even join that with other data to know, like, okay, like, does the size of data influence like how many deals a rep could close, and then to try to figure out like, what is a reasonable amount that they could actually close within a given time period.
I love it.